Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm Perry Black, and on this show, Abby Fegtly, a missionary young lady all the way from Kenya. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. I'm Perry Black, your host, and on this show we have somebody way across the pond, Abby Fegtly, all the way from Kavanaugh. You thought I was going to say Kenya, didn't you?
I did.
Believe it or not, like on Ripley's, Abby has a ministry called Blue Door Ministries in Kenya.
Yes, sir.
Now, for some folks, you know, here in Arkansas, everybody's Kenya. I'm kin to ya, and kin to ya, and kin to ya. But is Kenya, is that like, where in the world is Kenya?
It's in Eastern Africa.
Eastern Africa. Now, maybe some people like me don't know what I'm talking about. Africa is actually a continent, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm impressing myself. And then Kenya is actually a country within the continent
of Africa, yes, sir.
So just for geographical purposes, you want to throw out a couple of other nations that are in the continent of Africa?
There's Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, South Africa's at the bottom.
Yeah. So there's a whole lot.
For sure.
And Kenya, about how many folks live in Kenya?
Well, specifically where I live in Nairobi, there's about 4 million people.
4 million. I don't know if our audience can tell, we have children at Arkansas Christian Academy playing on the playground.
Yes.
We have our maintenance crew out here on the riding lawnmower as if we're not taping television. And behind us is the pond, and on the other side of the pond is one of 3 foster homes right here on this property at Family Church in Bryant. So a whole lot going on around here.
And the wind.
Yeah, and the wind. That's why I'm wearing my hat, is because I have my little hair was just trickling over on one side of my head here. You're in Kenya, Blue Door Ministries. How long have you been actually involved in Kenya, Abby?
So I first started going when I was 13 years old.
May I ask, and I'm going to, how old are you now?
I'm 24.
24. And so you've been going for 11 years.
Yes, sir, but I've lived full time for about 2.5.
So 2.5 years. And you were involved in more of an elementary type educational program. And then things transpired because your elementary children kept getting older and you saw a need.
For sure. And then there were just a few things that the more you do things, the more you learn. So I realized that there was a big deficit in high school, so we actually decided to start our own high school and named it Blue Door Christian Academy. So now we just have 9th through 12th graders.
So you've been involved. How did you, as a teenager, get involved going to Kenya, for goodness sakes? I wouldn't even let my kids go out and play in the front yard.
Right. Well, I went on a mission trip when I was 13. So my parents let me go, and my sister went with me, and she was 14. And as I went, I just was surprised that the world was so different from Little Rock, where I'd lived for forever. And I just really wanted to help with the need that I saw.
So let's put your life in a little bit of context for the viewers. You live in West Little Rock as a teenager. You actually graduated, I believe, Little Rock Christian School.
Yes, sir.
So would it be fair to say, even though your parents kept you and your sister very involved in the community and ministering to people in the community, but would you agree you were probably kind of a sheltered little young lady?
For sure. I definitely think that when you live in Little Rock or West Little Rock, there's like a bubble that everyone talks about. And so I feel like my parents were intentional to like push us outside of the bubble, but I lived through it, went to a private Christian school, so, and that has its own challenges too.
Can you give me a little bit of an idea? What's the difference of West Little Rock growing up and at 13 stepping out of the airplane and somehow making it probably into a village in Kenya?
I was like shocked. Like I didn't really know what to say, what to do, because there were so many people. Like the pace of life is a lot slower, so they're really relational people. And I was used to point A, point B, point C, go, go, go. And then just seeing the poverty. Like, I had never seen people live in a 10 by 10 iron sheet house, and there's 7 people living there, and the bedroom, the kitchen, the bathroom, it's all right there in one room.
Floor's dirt?
It's dirt, or maybe they put like some kind of like tile over it just to make it look a bit better, but mostly yes.
Kind of a thatch roof type?
Well, most of them are iron sheets like in the city, but if you go to the village, then they're made out of mud and a thatched roof. So I saw both. And
what happened at 13? What happened in here?
God started working really fast on my heart, because I felt like once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that, what if I took pictures of these kids to give them a gift or like a present? And that small thing was what catapulted me into what I do now.
All right, explain that again. What you saw, you couldn't unsee it.
Right.
That's called vision. That's called vision. God planted a vision in your heart. And what did you say about the gifts?
So when you take the kids' pictures, like, they freak out. They get so excited. So I was like, okay, I'm 13. I don't have a lot of resources, but what if I came back to babysit, bought one of those mobile printers that you take the picture and then it immediately prints off, and I would give that to the kids. So that was my way to like solve just a problem that I thought I saw.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
So all the kids in Kenya didn't have iPhones?
They did not, no. A lot of them have like flip phones, or maybe a parent has a smartphone, but the kids don't. And so they like would freak out when you took their picture.
What about the poverty thing? Did you see hungry kids? Did you see that? Have you seen that?
I have seen that for sure, where like little children have like really big bellies because they're hungry. Most of the people I saw only eat 1 meal a day, just because their parents don't have money to feed them. And then you see a lot of kids not in school. So they're just sitting at home playing while all the other kids are going to school.
Yeah. There's a lot that goes on in our world that if you stay in your bubble, you will never, ever really experience what God has for you.
Right.
I'm still flabbergasted that your mom and dad at the age of 13 let you go on a mission trip. It would have been one thing if they said, girls, we're going to take you to Kenya, but they actually sent you to Kenya.
Yes.
Oh, I'd like to know more about that story. I wonder if they were trying to get rid of you?
I hope not, but they did eventually.
They certainly have. So now you go to Kenya, spend at least 3 months at a time. And the ministry that you founded is called Blue Door Ministries.
Yes, sir.
Give us the website.
Okay, so it's bluedoorministries.org.
Now this program is all about fostering, mentoring, and adopting, but there are needs far beyond the state of Arkansas and the United States, which include the nation of Kenya. And we want to give you an opportunity to get involved, not just helping children in our community, but being involved through Blue Door all around the world. We'll be right back.
A mission field around you is filled with young hearts needing a forever family. And at Second Chance Youth Ranch, our team is committed to providing healthy, stable, loving homes and families to hurting children in the Arkansas foster care system and those up for adoption. Please contact us if you feel the tug at your heart to help foster or adopt, and find out the steps you could take to help fulfill a child's lifelong dream. Maybe you can't foster or adopt, but you could help. The need for thousands of children in the system is staggering. But with the help of faithful partners and business alliances, we are meeting those needs right now. Would you help us make a difference? Every gift, regardless of size, impacts a child's life directly and helps provide for a home in the gap right now. Visit the Second Chance Youth Ranch website at 2CYR.org to read more, watch the stories, and to make a contribution for a hurting child's care. Monthly partners are needed, so please contact us right away. And as you partner with this ministry, you are partnering with the Heavenly Father that has promised to be Father to the fatherless. God bless you for helping Second Chance Youth Ranch.
Hey, welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. On this show, we've got people mowing, people playing on the playground at Arkansas Christian Academy, but more than anything, we've got Abby Fegtly with Blue Door Ministries all the way from Kenya, which is, if you don't know geography, and I know you do, is a long way from here.
For sure, like 8,000 miles.
8,000 miles. You know, they say it's a small world, and everybody knows I say it is not a small world if you're walking.
True.
So how long is the flight to get to Kenya?
Around 27 hours.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
That's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And you've been there ministering literally off and on as a teenager at the age of 13. And again, as I said in the first segment, I'm fascinated your parents actually let you go with your sister and a group. How big was the group?
There was about 17 of us, so
And
a good number.
Who organized that group?
So one of our friends actually lived in Kenya full time, so we were all going to visit them and see what they were doing in Kenya.
Who was in the group? Was it from a church?
It was more like an organization, but a lot of our friends from high school went. So it was mostly like our friends.
In high school was Little Rock Christian?
Yes,
over
sir.
On, is that called Highway 10?
Yes, sir. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Actually, I have friends that go there. My niece taught there for a number of years.
I love it.
Yeah, beautiful school, beautiful campus.
For sure.
A little different than Kenya, is it?
Yes, for sure. But it was really sweet that when I started a school, I called our head of school at Little Rock Christian and was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Will you help me? So he let me come intern and shadow. So it was really sweet that like after all that time, they really would help me because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. You didn't know what you were doing at school or at Kenya?
Both.
Yeah, I never went to the principal and said, I don't know what I'm doing. I just kept that to myself. The principal often wondered what I was doing.
Right.
So tell me a little bit more about what Blue Door Ministry does in Kenya.
Okay.
And kind of give our viewers that maybe haven't seen you on the show before a couple of years ago. Originally, the ministry you were involved in was elementary. So tell us how we went from elementary to establishing Blue Door and upper education, secondary education.
So I think I realized that while our families are in poverty in Kenya, a lot of them struggle enough to get their kids to go to 8th grade. But then once their children are in 8th grade, you see a huge drop off in students that go to high school.
Yeah.
Because like the fee for them to pay is like 3, 4, 5 times the amount of what they're paying. So you find lots of really bright, intelligent kids who are supposed to go to national school sitting at home because they can't go.
Do they pay to go to national school?
They do.
Wow.
So it could be like $300, $400 a year, but when a mom is making $3 a week, it's not possible.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. So the mom makes $3 a week, $156 a year to feed her family.
To feed her family, pay rent, and send all of her children to school. And most families have 3 to 4, 5 kids. So once we realized that there was a huge deficit in that area, we decided to shift our focus from elementary and solely focus on high school. So we were looking for the bright and needy students who are supposed to be at big schools but can't go.
Yeah.
So then we take them into our school and they don't pay anything to go to school with us.
Well, at Arkansas Christian Academy, we ran into the same thing. The first years that we started, we didn't have high school. And we realized that students that started in our school wanted to stay. And you give your heart to those kids and then you say, okay, well, we don't have 9th grade or 10th grade.
Right.
Now we're fully accredited and we kindergarten all the way through 12th grade.
Wow.
So what do you actually do at Blue Door Ministries? What's the name of the school?
It's called Blue Door Christian Academy. So Blue Door Ministries fully funds the school in Kenya called Blue Door Christian Academy.
In America, in Little Rock Christian, Arkansas Christian Academy, you get up in the morning, mom gets you out of bed, gets you to school, but at Blue Door, do they live on campus or what?
Yes, sir. It's a boarding school.
It's a boarding school.
So all of our students live with us. So we have 160 students that stay on campus with us, and they stay 3 months, and then they go home for a few weeks, and then they come back for another 3 months. So our school calendar in Kenya, you don't get a full summer break.
Oh, the wind is blowing on the set.
For sure.
Yeah, beautiful here. So when the kids come to you in the 8th grade,
yes, they actually come in 9th grade.
How long is the school term?
Okay, so the term goes from January to the beginning of November, but only 3 months at a time. So each term is 3 months.
3 months. And in a school term, how many terms are there of 3 months?
There's 3 of them.
3, so they spend 9 months pretty much like we do here.
Yes.
40 weeks in our school.
Yes,
and
sir.
what kind of things do you teach them?
So we use a Kenyan curriculum. So that's what we teach at our school, but they have mandatory Bible classes. So since we are a Christian school, we feel like that's important. So we follow the Kenyan curriculum, not like I brought an American system.
Yeah, so when you say a Kenya curriculum, is that something that all schools in Kenya would be teaching?
Yes, sir.
Since it's a private boarding school, what's the requirements to get in?
So they have to have a certain like academic score to get in, which is based on their 8th grade exam. And then we look at their need, the area they come from, and then they come for an interview to get into 9th grade, and we see how their communication skills are, because we have about 400 kids that usually apply, and we can only take 40.
You only take 40 each
year.
Each year, and that's 3 90-day
Yes, sir.
semesters, whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
So how do the children pay to come, or how do y'all support the school?
Okay, so we look for sponsors here in the States who will pay to support the school. So our kids don't pay anything to come to school, except they bring like a box for their belongings, toothbrush, toothpaste, just like the essentials. And then we pay the teachers' salaries, all of their food, textbooks, and all of the rest.
So if someone's watching right now, and we know they are, and they
Yes,
wanted to
sir.
be more informed to see how they might be able to get involved,
Right.
how would they find you?
So on our website, bluedoorministries.org, there's a donate button, and you can sign up to sponsor the school monthly. So we don't do child sponsorships anymore.
Okay, I was going to ask you that.
We just sponsor the school as a whole because we want to have a holistic approach to what we do. And so we want everyone to support the school and the kids as a whole, instead of like, oh, this is my child or that's my child.
Yeah, and that's really a profound way to do it. A lot of people like to see a face of a child, but by doing the school, you're able then to take those resources and help a lot of kids. Now, when y'all started this aspect of Blue Door, how long is that? 2 years ago?
It was a year in October, so it's been a year and a half right now. So we're still new.
How many children were you expecting when you first started? Any? Were you curious if anybody would be there?
For sure. Like, we had put it out there that on this Sunday, October 24th in 2021, like, you can come to school. And I was terrified no one would come. Yeah. Because it's like God gave us a vision. We had implemented the plan, but you don't know. Like, will they come or not? Yeah. And so they were supposed to come at 2 p.m. on that Sunday. And at 5:15, I got the first call that the first parent showed up.
And we're going to take a brief break and come back and find how many children showed up. We'll be right back with Abby Fegtly.
My name is Colton. I'm 12 years old. I like to play video games and Legos. When I grow up, I want to be a video game tester. My favorite video game is Raft Survival. We'll defend your raft from sharks, explore new islands, attack other players. Legos is like a whole new world you can explore. I have Legos in my hoodie if you want to see them. I like big Lego sets because, you know, I don't know how to explain it, but big Lego sets is like a lot more difficult, but more challenging at the same time, and fun. School? Well, I'm doing great in it. My favorite thing about school is the computers and breaks I get to get because, yeah, I need breaks because like my mind can't function without breaks. Like my kind of breaks are like video games or napping or even reading.
What is your favorite food?
That's actually kind of hard. I don't have a favorite food. My three favorites, the equal favorites: ice cream, shakes, birthday cake.
If you could go one place in all the world.
Probably to Texas. I would like build my house at the desert. Probably make it out of cactus. You know, cactus is a good source of water. You can eat it out the inside, get water from it. My hopes is I get adopted. I think I wouldn't have to move around much, and so I don't have to be in foster care anymore, so I don't have to go from place to place to place.
So tell me what kind of family you want.
It doesn't really matter. As long as they have other kids, I'm fine. Well, if there's anyone wanting to adopt me, I'd maybe go on some vacations, camping trips. I love camping trips. Well, I'll be at a place longer than I've ever been.
Would you like that?
Yes.
Welcome back to Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. And Abby, the wind has stopped.
Thank goodness.
Thank you, Jesus.
We're so happy.
We're outdoors, which we don't hardly ever tape outdoors because of all the elements. We've had lighting fall down, we've had kids on the playground, we've had mowers mowing here, mowers mowing over there, but it's beautiful out here.
It does feel great.
Kind of reminds me of the scripture, this is the day the Lord has made, I will rejoice and be glad in it. You know, Blue Door Ministries is changing lives 8,000 miles away, and while things are changing in Kenya, we have about 400 students right here on our campus, right there. It's a high school building. Back there's our foster campus. So many things going on. Jesus is moving in wonderful ways. Hey, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Okay. Have you seen the Jesus Revolution movie?
I haven't.
Go see it.
Where do I go see it?
At the theater.
Okay. Okay.
If you would go see that movie, you would see my life testimony.
Okay.
That's about all the hippies that got born again back in the 1968, 1970.
Okay.
You know, back when you were a baby.
Right. Not sure if I was a baby.
No, you weren't a baby. Your mama was a baby back then. Hey, Abby Fegtly is a missionary to Kenya, and that is so awesome. I met you, was it 3 years ago?
I think so.
And I was so
sir.
impressed with you that our church has been sponsoring you and Blue Door Ministries, and y'all are ministering in your educational center, Blue Door
Christian Academy.
Christian Academy.
Yes, sir.
Which is a boarding school. And we never assume that people have watched the whole show. There are people probably joining us about halfway in.
Right.
How a beautiful young lady at your young age of how many?
24.
24, ministering in a foreign country. You're now married.
I am.
And life is good, isn't it?
It is, yes, sir.
So tell me again, for anybody that's maybe missed what we've been talking about, how many students, you didn't even know if anybody would come 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
Right.
And did anybody show up?
They did. So they were supposed to come at 2 p.m. and at 5:15 in the morning, I got a call from our principal saying that the first parent showed up.
Wow.
And I immediately just had tears in my eyes because it was like, okay, Lord, like you told us to do this, and of course He always shows up.
He always shows up. We started Family Church on Father's Day, June the 20th, 1990. Had no idea if anybody'd show up.
Right.
We had 50 chairs in our little storefront, 25 folding chairs in the back. We had to bring out folding chairs, actually 75 chairs, and then the 25 folding chairs.
Okay.
And we had to bring folding chairs into our little auditorium. 33 years ago, June
Wow.
of Father's Day of 2023, we'll celebrate 33 years.
That's
and
exciting.
people keep showing up.
Right.
You know, I don't know about y'all, we run more people off than we caught. Y'all probably have caught how many students this semester?
Well, we have 160 total, but we're actually looking at purchasing another school right now, which would let us double our capacity.
And you think maybe you will be back in Kenya in what month of 2023?
I will be back in May.
In May, and then you'll be back in the States in August.
Yes, sir.
And then you'll be back in Kenya for the next semester, probably in September.
Yes. That's
A busy
correct.
young lady, huh?
Back
Plenty
and
to do.
forth a lot.
What? Tell me something phenomenal. We only have a few minutes, but tell me something really like we might put in that realm of miraculous, beyond having Blue Door Ministries in a foreign country and not knowing if any kids would show up. And now there's
Right.
160 plus, getting ready to go over 300.
Right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
I always do.
I'm ready.
How are you doing that? What's God doing? Tell me about it.
Well, I think it's really cool that God just kind of shows us what to do day by day. It's like a small step kind of thing, but even purchasing the second school, like
Yeah.
I mentioned, is like completely a God thing. We had someone call us randomly one day and said that it was on their heart and they wanted to help us. So in the next few weeks, we're going to start raising $320,000 to purchase a second campus, so we would have the boys on one campus and the girls on another campus.
Okay, I'm a tiny bit older than you. How in the world does a 24
Yes, sir.
year old young lady even contemplate Visualize buying a $320,000 building in Kenya so you can double your capacity, which quadruples your responsibility.
Right. Well,
Most people are sitting here going, that is just amazing to me, dear. Honey, is that amazing or what? It is amazing.
Well, I didn't dream of it, actually. I feel like the story of my life is like God just like brings something in front of us, and then it's our job to either like be obedient or not. So I just choose to be obedient, and it's a big task, like 2 schools in 2 years. That's a lot to undertake, but I just have to believe that if this is what God wants, He'll bring me the people to help me. And so I didn't think of it. It wasn't my idea. It was totally God's idea.
Yeah, and if He doesn't provide, you don't have to do it.
For sure.
It is that simple. You know, I just taught on Vision Sunday.
Okay.
And Helen Keller, you've heard of her?
Yes.
She said the most pathetic person in the world is one who can see but has no vision.
Right.
And the vision, I always say it like this, God always gives provision for the vision, because it's really His vision. All we're doing is walking out what He's put in our heart to do.
Yes, sir.
I drive on my own campus here, 25 acres on I-30, and I said it like this: when I'm no longer in awe of what God's doing here, it's time for me to quit.
Right.
Because I just live in continual enthusiasm that God keeps showing up in spite of me.
It like makes you want to get up in the morning, because you never know, like, oh, what are we going to do today? What's God going to give us today?
Yeah.
So it makes you excited about what He lets you do.
Yeah, and that's what we want you to know. And this show is about fostering, mentoring, and adopting, changing lives across the street and around the world, whether it's in Bryant, Little Rock, Arkansas, the nation, or the nation of Kenya.
Right.
And it's
Yes,
about
sir.
the coolest thing, the great adventure. Why don't you look at the camera there and just tell anybody why they should be involved in serving the Lord and pursuing what God has on His heart for them.
Well, I think, like you said, God always has the best adventure for us, and I never thought that He would take me halfway across the world, but that's what He wanted me to do. So I would say there's nothing better than like just following the plan that God has for your life, because it's always going to be way better and more awesome than you could ever imagine.
I'm seasoned. Let me just put it this way. I go to the restaurants now and I get a senior discount without asking for one. It's that bad. So God will use you no matter how young or how seasoned you are in your life. If you will just allow Him to use you, He'll reveal that to you. I don't know, Abby, do you remember a song, Trust and Obey? There's no other way to be happy in Jesus.
Yes, sir.
And that's what it's all about, whether you're in Kenya or right here in Arkansas or right there where you are. You can help us make a difference in changing lives of children in foster care by simply reaching out to us at 2CYR.org. We look forward to seeing you next time right here at Second Chance Youth Ranch TV. God bless you.